Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down Austin Kleon's absolutely fantastic guide to creativity, Steal Like an Artist. Seriously, this thing is a powerful manifesto for anyone, and I mean anyone who wants to tap into that creative spark in their life and their work. So let's just jump right in with the one question every creative person gets asked constantly. You know the one. It's the question that everyone thinks holds the secret password to the entire creative process. So where do you get your ideas? And this is the answer that just blows the whole thing wide open. It's provocative for sure, but hold on. This isn't about being a thief in the night. It's about a total mind shift, about understanding how influence really works. Okay, let's get into the meat of it. We're going to start by tearing down the single biggest myth that holds so many people back, this insane pressure we put on ourselves to be 100% original. You know, Kleon points out that even the Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. And at first, that might sound like a total bummer, right? But it's not. It's actually the most liberating idea ever. It takes all the pressure off. You're free from the impossible task of making something out of, well, nothing. So this is super important. Kleon is not talking about plagiarism. He's not saying go and rip people off. No way. He's talking about a very specific, honorable kind of stealing he calls good theft, and it's a completely different animal. And the difference is huge. Good theft is like an apprenticeship. You study your heroes, you give them credit, and then you transform their ideas into something new, something that's yours. Bad theft? That's just lazy. It's skimming the surface, it's plagiarizing, it's a cheap imitation. It's the difference between being a student and being a crook. So the book's big argument is that creativity isn't some kind of magic where you pull an idea out of thin air. It's more like being a chef or a DJ. You're taking existing ingredients, existing tracks, and you're mashing them up, remixing them into something that feels fresh and new. Let me give you a really simple visual for this. It's a classic art school trick. Just picture this. You take a piece of paper, and you draw two parallel lines. Okay, so you've got your two lines. You see line 1, you see line 2. Pretty straightforward, right? But what if I told you there's a third line there, hiding in plain sight? It's the empty space between them, that relationship, that gap. It creates a whole new thing. That's where you get 1 + 1 = 3. And that right there is the whole point. You are a remix. You're a mashup of your parents, your friends, the music you listen to, the movies you watch. You are the sum of your influences. Okay, so that all sounds good in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you use this idea to find your own voice? Well, it sounds a little weird, but the journey starts with copying. I mean, think about it. Nobody is just born with a style. We don't come out of the womb knowing who we are as artists. We learn by pretending to be our heroes. Let's be real, even the Beatles started as a cover band, just trying their best to sound like their American rock and roll idols. So the book gives us this really clear 3-step game plan, and it's not about blind imitation. That's just copying what's on the surface. This is about emulation. It's like taking apart an engine to see how it works. You're trying to get inside your heroes' heads to see the world the way they do. There's this fantastic story about Conan O'Brien. He said he spent years trying to be David Letterman, but he failed. He just couldn't pull it off. And in that failure, he accidentally became Conan O'Brien. That little gap between your hero and your attempt to copy them, that's you. That's where your unique voice is hiding. Okay, so we've got the mindset down. We get it. Steal like an artist. But what about the day-to-day stuff? The practical tools and habits you need to actually fuel this whole process? Kleon makes this brilliant point. Step away from the computer when you're brainstorming. Laptops are amazing for editing, for shipping your work. But for generating ideas, they're terrible. That blinking cursor, that ever-present delete key, it just kills ideas before they have a chance. You gotta get physical. And that's why he says you should have 2 workspaces. First, your analog desk. This is your playground. Paper, pens, sticky notes, it's for making a huge mess. No judgment allowed. Then there's your digital desk. That's the office. That's for cleaning things up, editing, and publishing. And your swipe file? Well, that's just your personal collection of cool stuff you found that's worth stealing. And it goes beyond just tools. It's about your habits. And this is my favorite part, because it's all about reframing things we think are bad. That side project you feel guilty about, that might actually be your most important work. Feeling bored while you're doing the dishes? Perfect. That's when your brain has breakthroughs. And your hobbies, they're not a waste of time. They're what connect different parts of your brain and make your work interesting. All right, last part. This is the big picture. How do you build a creative life that actually lasts? How do you get noticed? And maybe most importantly, how do you just keep going? The so-called secret to getting discovered is brutally, beautifully simple. Part 1, do good work. That's it. There's no shortcut. There's no magic bullet. You just have to show up and make things, day in and day out. A lot of it will be bad, and that's fine. You absolutely have to do the work. But that's only half the formula. Creating amazing stuff in a vacuum does nothing. It's do good work and share it with people. You've got to put it out there. And today, with the internet, it's easier than ever. Share your process, share what you're working on. Just open the door and let people find you. You know that romantic idea of the chaotic, starving artist who's a total mess? Yeah, that's a destructive myth. Kleon argues that a boring routine is actually your creative superpower. Having a day job, a set schedule, that stability is what gives you the freedom and energy to be wild and original in your creative work. We think we want total freedom, but honestly, a blank page is one of the most terrifying things in the world. That feeling of you can do anything is actually paralyzing. That's why limitations are your best friend. They force you to get creative. Just look at Dr. Seuss. He was challenged to write a book using only 50 different words. The result? Green Eggs and Ham, a classic. Constraints aren't a cage, they're a launch pad. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Creativity isn't just about what you decide to add to your work. It's about what you bravely choose to subtract. It's in those limitations, those choices, and yeah, those loving thefts that you're going to find your own unique voice. So the real question is, what are you going to choose to leave out?